everyone, and welcome to another royal reading here at MadWorldTarot. I took a day off yesterday to catch up with some personal things, but I'm back today with the Deviant Moon Tarot and also the little Jack Russell. He spends a day with us, but he's spending the week with us now, so he's still in the house. So if you hear horrible coughing and I suddenly disappear, it's because the very ancient, very deaf Jack Russell is in situ. Deviant Moon Tarot on the tarot table for this reading because the HRH saga is rumbling on, and in fact it's picking up energy, and so we need to look at it again, unfortunately, because we have looked at it quite recently. And what we're going to be looking at in this reading is what Meghan is up to, because she's now blatantly posting images of gifts that she's given to her friends, her friend Jamie Kern-Lima in this case, with her old stationery from her time as a working royal with the HRH, and she's claiming that this particular gift was sent to her friend Jamie Kern-Lima a year ago, long before As Ever was launched, and that she only uses her HRH in private between friends, and she's not using it for commercial reasons. People are saying, well, that wasn't the agreement reached at Sandringham with the late Queen, and she's being incredibly disrespectful, and she's breaking that agreement, the Sandringham agreement that was forged between the late Queen, the then Prince Charles, Prince William, and Prince Harry. So she's really pushing it now, and I want to know what she's up to. What is she doing? What game is she playing? Is she staking her claim with the style, this HRH style, while the king is still around and everybody knows that he's not going to do anything to stop her? Is she trying to provoke Prince William, get a rise out of him, basically just harass and torment him even? And I want to know what Prince Harry thinks of all of this, because the story is going around. There's a Neil Sean story, and I think there's also a Crazy Days and Nights story, that Harry is very embarrassed about this, very upset about what Meghan is doing, because he knows that she's violating that Sandringham agreement, but he's powerless to stop her. And he's very afraid that if he does try to stop her, she'll march out of the marriage and he'll be left completely alone. He's terrified of being left alone. She has isolated him so much that this is his great fear. So that's what we're looking at today with the Deviant Moon Tarot. I think I've showed you the Deviant Moon Tarot. I've started this a few times, unfortunately, because of coughing Jack Russell. But we're going to see how far we get this time. And see what the cards want to tell us about Meghan, what she's up to, and how Harry feels about it. And then, is this a deal breaker for the marriage? And in the next reading, I'm going to be looking at Prince William again, because there's been a heightened response from sources close to Prince William. Really very strong language coming from there, actually quite terrifying language. So as I say, this situation is escalating. In my opinion, Meghan too is escalating. We're going to have a mental health check at some stage again soon. We're going over the same old ground, but there's the Hanged Man, interesting. We're going over the same ground because Meghan's going over the same ground for reasons. Might have to do with mental health, might have to do with desperation, might have to do with worry about the king's health. We're going to check all of that. And we have to remind you, it's tarot and it is just for fun and entertainment. It's all my opinions, it's all speculation. And of course, it's just energy I read here, and disclaimer in the box below. So let's see what the Deviant Moon Tarot has to tell us about the situation that, as I say, is escalating and is getting seemingly more tense as time goes on. We've got the Strength card in reverse, and this is really a Harry and Meghan perspective. This reading, very interesting. Strength card, sorry, got to just adjust things a little bit. The Strength card is, of course, the Leo card, and it's in reverse. This is Meghan, who is finding herself, in my opinion, in an increasingly weak situation as time goes on, and everything that she does turns to dust. She really has failed quite spectacularly, in, again, my opinion, but I think objectively you could say that her various ventures that she launched in 2025 have all failed spectacularly. So there she is, the Strength card in reverse, but it's also being out of control. The Strength card in reverse, it's falling prey to your baser, your more sort of animal nature. And my sense, my own energetic sense in this situation is that she really just can't resist trying to bait Prince William and also try and upset the king, who has, of course, washed his hands of the whole business seemingly. He's got his own troubles, and he really I think just doesn't even want to think about Harry and Meghan at this point. But she's obviously quite happy to poke and prod and see what kind of response she can get from what's really a wounded animal at this stage in the royal family. And that's also inherent in that Strength card. It is royal family energy, the Strength card generally, because it's a lion normally being tamed, and it's in reverse. So quite a lot to say about that Strength card as our underlying energy. So let's have a look at the situation that's going on, and that's getting worse and worse. And we've got the High Priestess in reverse. It's very Meghan energy, this High Priestess. It's very, in my opinion, I have to pick my words very carefully, even though this is just tarot and this is just me speculating, of course, but it has that kind of manipulative, almost hypnotic energy, kind of the dark arts at work with the High Priestess in reverse. And of course, I'm using very dramatic language. I don't mean that literally, and I have to dash, sorry. And I'm back, and sorry about that. He's crying at the door. He's missing his mom. He's normally home at around this time. Anyway, he's fine. High Priestess in reverse is not so fine. It's quite malevolent and dangerous energy in general for me as a tarot reader. Somebody who is supposed to be in touch with higher things, be the gateway to higher things, and as the priestess, as the initiator, the keeper of mysteries and secrets. But it's in reverse. It gives me a rather bad feeling, or almost foreboding, in the level of toxicity in that energy, and the kind of game playing, the kind of manipulation, the kind of control and dangerous energy that's being put out into the ether that I am picking up as an energy reader. Let me just make very clear that this is just me reading energy. So let's have a look at Harry and Meghan separately and see how important this styling, the HRH, is to them. Harry first, let us not forget that Harry insisted on being called HRH in one of his court cases a while back. I'm not sure if he insisted in this recent appeal hearing in London, but he insisted on having that HRH used way back when. So Harry, what does he feel? How does he feel about it? The Star in reverse. He really feels that he has lost all purpose, lost status by having this put in abeyance, this HRH. Star is hope, it's healing, it's purpose, it's of course star power as well in these royal readings. It's in reverse. He's lost his star power. He really feels it terribly, that he's been reduced almost to nothing, just, you know, a mere mortal, having lost that star power, having lost that HRH. It's extremely important to him. I would say with that energy, he's very depressed about this. I think that he just never expected the Queen to do this, the late Queen, of course, to do this to him. I think it's one of the things he probably expects an apology for from the royal family. How dare you strip me of this HRH when I'm entitled to it by birth? But depression, the star is in reverse. It's a very powerful energy that's coming through of just losing hope, losing faith, and kind of falling apart as a result of the loss of this ridiculous HRH. To me, it is ridiculous. Sorry, I'm a commoner and I come from a republic, so you can understand why I said that. And apologies to people who do feel strongly about these things. So how about Meghan? Meghan, we see, feels strongly about it, or does she? Or is she just playing games? Well, we have the Eight of Cups, and it's walking away from something that was very sad. So she still feels hurt and betrayed about what happened in her royal past, all 72 days as a working royal, and wounded by the royal family. Of course, it's all their fault and she didn't do anything wrong. I'm being sarcastic, of course. But that HRH, it was I think, devastating moment, not as bad as Harry's. Harry's is very serious because it's major arcana, really a life-changing event. For Meghan, it was a wound, a grievance that she's tried to put behind her. She left the royal family, of course, went back to California, but she's carried that HRH with her secretly, with her note paper, her stationery, still using it to claim status with all her friends. It might explain why she has that weird circle of quite powerful and influential female friends in Montecito who seem to kowtow to her and don't mind letting her use their private jets and exploit them for her Netflix show and her podcast, because of course she's HRH. If you take the HRH away, what is Rach without her HRH? So it's a point of grievance for her, is how I would interpret that Eight of Cups. Sorry about the snoring, if you can hear that. It's back on its bed, sleepiest now. So what game is she playing? Just generally, that this seems to be escalating now. What game is she playing? And we got the Page of Pentacles. This is a bit of a panic, I think, because it's the contract card, the deals and negotiations. She's breaking an agreement. Page of Pentacles. Contract in reverse, you're breaking the agreement. So she's clearly, very intentionally, in my opinion, breaking that Sandringham agreement. But the reason that she's breaking it could be because she's at risk of losing deals that are her only form of paycheck at this point, and that would be the Netflix deal in particular. And so there could be a bit of a panic on about being fired by Netflix and what's she going to do if nobody's that interested in anything she has to offer at this point. She's still got the HRH. She can still claim that she's royal. So I think that's what she's doing. She's using this HRH because she's got nothing left. All her commercial ventures have failed. Strength card in reverse that I was talking about at the beginning of this reading. And there's a bit of a panic on. I think it's very willful. It's very knowing this, and this is my personal opinion again, just to be clear, this exploitation of this HRH to try and remind people who could write her or cut her a check that I'm still important. I'm the only HRH you've got on your books. Just remember that. Is she trying to get a rise out of Prince William? I know I've asked this question before, but is this trying to sort of torment him or provoke him and try and get some attention from him? And I'm sure she would enjoy that, but what's going on? And I've got the Nine of Wands in reverse. And I do think she's trying to wear him down, because the Nine of Wands is about wearing someone down. That the constant constantly embattled in the Nine of Wands. That's the general energy of that card. And over time, as the card flips into the reverse, the person who's embattled just loses their resistance, is unable to defend themselves, but also to protect themselves energetically. And I think she senses that he is wounded, he's tired, he's depleted after the awful year that he went through in 2024, and that if she can hammer away at him, she'll wear down his resistance. That is what's coming through for me. Again, I have to say, for me as an energy reader, it is just my opinion. It's quite insidious. It's quite nasty, in my opinion. It chimes with the energy that's coming from that High Priestess in reverse for me. That it's, there might be some kind of hope that she somehow wears him down, almost in terms of health. And has some effect on his physical health and also on his mental health. The two, of course, go together in some aspects, and that's how that card is reading for me. And again, I have to stress, that is just my opinion. And let us look at Prince Harry now. And how does Harry really feel about Meghan using this HRH on her stationery when she's sending out gifts to people and posting it wherever she's posting it? Well, they're posting it publicly despite the Sandringham agreement, which was very clear Harry and Meghan could not use their HRH. So how does he really feel about it? The Chariot in reverse. It's like the wheels have come right off. It's a kind of a derailment energy for me that the Chariot is saying, but it's also saying Prince William, because of course the Chariot is Prince William's major arcana. It's a major arcana for Cancer, the sign of Cancer. And so the two things are hitting me at the same time. In Cancer, the Chariot normally, and right away, you see someone driving a chariot. Is that the word? You drive a chariot? I don't think so. You steer a chariot, maybe. Being pulled by a white and a black lion, normally, meaning opposing energy. And we had to have a little pause again. But the opposing energy is where the momentum in the Chariot comes from, that the person is skillful at integrating yin and yang kind of energy, or light and dark, or whatever, and that gives them momentum and force and willpower to achieve things. But in this context for Harry, there are these two opposing things going on in that card. His awareness that this is really going to, I could say a rude word, but it's really going to aggravate Prince William beyond anything. It's going to drive him mad. Harry has got that kind of awareness, but he's also got awareness that Meghan is out of control. Chariot in reverse is out of control. It leads to accidents. The aggressive ambition that's inherent in that Chariot energy, that willfulness despite the voice of reason, everybody saying you mustn't do this, sort of that oppositional whatever disorder. I can't think of its proper name now, it escapes me, but that if you say don't, then I will. That a lot of people speculate Meghan has personality disorder. Then if Harry says don't do this, she's going to do it, and it's going to derail everything. He's got this awareness for me that both things are going on at the same time, and because the card is in reverse, he doesn't know how to deal with it. So it has sort of answered the second question already. How does he feel about it? Freaked out, I would say, because he knows his brother is going to be absolutely freaked out, but he's also aware that Meghan might be escalating and might be going out of control and might just be doing things at this point to just aggravate people, which is a very dangerous thing to do when you've already done so much to aggravate people. Aggravate is not nearly strong enough a word, just by the way. So is Harry powerless to stop her? Because mostly he fears being abandoned. according to these rumors. And we got the Two of Wands. That's not powerless to stop someone. That's an interesting energy, because for all that his awareness of how badly this is going, or could potentially go in the Chariot in reverse, they are still partners with the Two of Wands. They're still partners. That's not a romantic partnership. That's not screaming marriage to me and I love her and therefore I'm going to stand by her side. It's, we're in this together. I don't want to be alone. So I do think that there is some truth to these rumors that he's going to stand quietly and let her do whatever the hell she wants to do, because he doesn't want to be on his own. They are joined at the hip still as a brand, even though very weakened brand. The Strength card in reverse, that was brand Sussex, which is now brand joke or unsuccessful or whatever you want to call it. Brand never ever, all that kind of stuff. But they're still joined. They're still, I'm going to use the word complicit because it's coming through for me. Almost like accomplices in whatever they've been doing. If he separates himself from that, then I think all hell breaks loose. He could be a casualty, a real serious casualty, when this Chariot careens out of control. And I think he's got enough sense of self-preservation to realize that he's in grave danger at this point. Interesting energy. This is a deal breaker for the marriage. Prince William, when he finally is able to, says, you're done, no more HRH, no more Sussex title, you're both finished. Is it a deal breaker for the marriage? And I got Queen of Cups. That's Mummy Diana energy. In there, Mummy Diana had the same thing happen to Mummy Diana. So it might not be. It might actually drive them together of, you did this to Mummy Diana and then look what happened to Mummy Diana. And we've got the High Priestess sitting here at the heart of this reading. That's the real story, is that High Priestess in reverse. And we know that that High Priestess in reverse claims to channel the Queen of Cups, Mummy Diana. And I do think that there is some, I'm going to use a very strong word, but it's my opinion, undue influence going on there between that High Priestess in reverse and the Queen of Cups. So I don't think that if the situation gets pushed as far as it could potentially be pushed, and we're going to look at it in the next reading, what Prince William's going to do and how Meghan will respond. I think that this could actually make them stay together, at least in name, and at least in terms of the control that High Priestess energy has over Harry still. And deep breaths after that reading. Glad I had a rest day yesterday, actually. And thank you for watching, and let's see what the next reading has to say.